Kia ora, Vanessa. No mai, haere mai. Welcome to our place. I already feel like I know you through your blog, and we're kindred spirits, busy mums. We know all about it.
Busy mums, absolutely. So always looking for really quick and simple meals, but with lots of fresh ingredients.
What are we going to make today?
We're going to make the most divine spinach pie using loads of bacon, lots of fresh cheese, and lovely and simple but really luscious flavours. For dessert, we're going to make a mango pudding. We're going to make a little creme anglaise with some coconut, which goes beautifully, of course, with mango, and a little tapioca garnish, and some lovely fried coconut chips as well.
Nā reira, he aha te mahi tuatahi. So it's all about organisation. So what do we need to do first? What's the priority?
So we're going to start with the spinach pie. The great thing about this recipe is that it will make enough for a really enormous pie, probably enough to feed 8 if you were just doing simple little portions. The other option is you can make it into 2 pies and freeze one, or just pop one in the fridge for another day. You would just freeze it without cooking the puff pastry and just pull it out of the freezer and cook it off.
Kapai.
What we're going to do is just cook these off with some of the bacon to combine the flavours.
Right.
This is quite a lot of bacon, it's 250 grams. Then we've got a whole bunch of silver beet here and 300 grams of baby spinach. So as I say, it's going to make an enormous amount of mixture. Some people, when they make a spinach pie, actually cook off the spinach, but I don't worry about doing that. And this is actually a recipe originally from my mum, and she used to pile it all in raw, and it just wilts, of course, in the oven anyway.
Kwa maua ne, so that's looking good.
Already looking fantastic. Then we can turn that off now while we get the silver beet ready. If you could chop some parsley, that'd be great.
All of that?
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
So you're just chopping out the stalks there?
Yeah, just take the stalks out because obviously they're too tough. Well, thank you for chopping that. I'm just going to pop a little bit of the parsley into here and stir it around and save a little bit for garnish.
Pai ke te aha, and it already looks amazing.
So we'll just divide this into 2 because you need a really large bowl to be able to cope with all of the mixture. So it's easy enough to just divide it into 2. And then we're going to take 4 eggs and just give them a really light whisk and season it with some salt and pepper and some freshly grated nutmeg. So if you just pile some baby spinach in there, and I'll give you some of our silver beet. And then I'm just going to pour out a little bit of oil. So the idea for the oil is when it all gets cooked together, you don't want it to turn into a quiche, you know, with the egg. So it really is a pie, and the oil and the egg will give it a lovely sort of body and create a filling for the pie rather than creating like an egg quiche that's got spinach through it. Yeah. So we're just going to add some of the egg to bind it all together.
So what sort of consistency are we looking for here? Because it's quite wet and a little...
Yep, that's fine. There are a couple of options. You can either layer the spinach mixture and then top it with cheese and maybe another layer of spinach mixture, or we can actually mix our cheese in with it all together.
Chuck it all in.
Yeah, chuck it all in.
Layer schmayer.
Yeah, who has time for layers?
How tēnei momotihi? What sort of cheese we've got here that's cheddar?
This is just a simple tasty cheddar, and I've got some parmesan as well, which will give it a little bit more of a bite, and some lovely salt, because parmesan's nice and salty.
Whānau tātāua, so all we have to do now is really put it in the baking dish.
Yeah, just pop it into the baking dish and top it with the pastry. Do maybe a little egg wash, so it goes nice and golden in the oven.
Kia hea te roa? How long do we want it in there for?
For about 40 minutes.
Okay. Nā reira, ka aro ke ki te tōwhiro. See, you already know what I'm talking about. Dessert. So this looks amazing. It looks too good to mess up, but we're going to have to. What do we have to do first?
Okay, so what we're going to do first is just make the simple mango pudding. It's so simple. The actual pudding's all we need. Our mango here. Now I'm using tinned, and I've actually topped it up with a little bit of peach in there. It's entirely up to you. You know, you can use tinned apricots or mango or peach. We've got evaporated milk, and then I guess, you know, the sort of key ingredient that some people may not have is gelatin and a little sugar, and that is it for our mango pudding. So I'm actually going to save our fresh mango here for garnish on the plate and use the tinned for the actual dish, and we're just going to puree that.
Pai tēnā, is that good?
Perfect. So you can either make a sugar syrup from scratch, which is water and sugar and heat it up. The other option is you just add a little bit of sugar to the syrup or test the syrup. So because there's a few little bits floating in there, I'm just going to sieve it. And we've got our powdered gelatin. And I think the tip is don't just tip it straight into the hot liquid because it will clump together and you'll get clumps. So you need to do it separately away from the main mixture that you're trying to set. Don't add your gelatin into a pan of boiling water because it will actually kill the gelatin and then it won't set. So the gelatin's just dissolved there in our sugar syrup. And we're just going to scrape the mango flesh into a bowl. And then we're just going to add about 150 mils evaporated milk. And we're going to use what's the rest of it with our tapioca, so there's no waste as well. And then we're just going to pop in our gelatin to set it. What is important now is to actually taste this and make sure if you feel like you'd like it to be sweeter, then you can add another tablespoon of the sugar syrup in.
Oh, look at me trying to grab on in there.
I know, you're ready to taste, I can tell.
Oh, yum.
That's pretty yummy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's good.
See, I
And
wouldn't
it's not
want
too
it any
sweet.
sweeter. No. So there's a couple of options that we're going to do for presentation. One is to keep it really, really simple and to just use a jelly mould. But I also thought it could look really pretty layered in a clear glass. If you are in a hurry and you're just creating something quick for the kids, then it's already done and you just need it to set.
E tahi kōwhiringa hoki, and we've got some choices here. So that's our base.
So what we need to do first is cook the tapioca because that will take about 8 minutes to cook. So the water's just come to the boil, so I'm just going to sprinkle the tapioca in and we just need to stir it so it doesn't stick to start with.
Hanga tohu kua mawe, and what are the signs that it's cooked? How long are we going to cook for?
It should go clear and it should take about 8 to 10 minutes.
Ka rite ana tēnei tapioca. And when the tapioca is ready, what?
We just need to drain it and then we're going to just pop it in a bowl and stir through some of the evaporated milk and that becomes another garnish. The other thing that we are going to make is a little crème anglaise, which is just a very flash word really for a custard.
Yeah.
And it's a pouring custard, but what I've done to make it a little bit different is used coconut milk rather than regular milk because it will tie in with the flavour of the mango. So just a tin of coconut milk and we're going to use a couple of egg yolks. We just need to whisk that up with a little bit of sugar. And what I'm going to do while you're doing that is I'm just going to tip our coconut milk into a saucepan. We need to get that heated. Pour a little bit into here and whisk it through so that you're tempering the egg. So we just need to add a little bit of the warm mixture into here, get the egg used to being warm and then tip it back in. And that's, you know, that's the trick with custard in general that people get a bit nervous about. And then the other tip is, of course, to just stir it on a really, really, really low heat because otherwise it will split and it will just be horrible. And we're just going to pop it off the heat and into a bowl, set on the side. Give it just a chance to cool down a little bit, and then the best idea is to actually pop some cling film or Glad wrap over it, and just enough that we can just pop a little bit of Glad wrap down and touch the surface, and that will stop it forming a skin. I've just popped the coconut chips into a dry fry pan because they've got a lot of natural oil. We're just bringing out the natural oil of the coconut, and then they'll turn a lovely golden colour, and that's the point that you want to stop cooking them. Make sure you've got a plate or something to tip them onto afterwards. Don't just take the pan off the heat and expect it to stop cooking because it will continue to cook and then they'll cook for too long.
Ka wera and they'll be burnt.
We're going to do 2 presentations, one on a plate. Pour a little bit of my cooled down crème anglaise, and then I'm going to use some of the diced mango and some of my tapioca to just present on the side, and a couple of edible flowers for decoration.
Ka tahi nā te hākari mā te whānau. That is such an amazing family feast. It was easy to make. Just left it in the oven there for 40 minutes, and these are a little bit special, a little bit flash, but a little bit amazing.
But simple.
Oh wow, I can't wait. Got them all way te waha. A little bit of dribbling going on here. That's delicious. It's so moist.
That's why you add the oil.
It's really Moorish.
Unfortunately, yes. This is actually a really good dessert to follow because it's so light and fresh, and you've had sort of the richness of the spinach pie, and then just to finish off with something that's just really, really light.
I love that combination of the coconutsy, the tapioca. So chewy and delicious.
And I think the crunchy coconut on top is really important because it just adds a different texture. Otherwise, it would all just be too soft.
Ko te tuki tau ia koe hoa. You've just absolutely nailed it.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to come and cook with you.
Ngā mihi ki a koe. Thank you.